Hey, what's going on everybody? Commander Crane here, and we are back with another Pioneer deck tech, and today we're going to be talking about ultra budget white flyers in Pioneer. I'm very excited to share this list with you. As always, let me know at the end of the video, is there a card that I definitely should have included that I didn't? As well as if you have any suggestions for upcoming videos, just let me know in the comment section. So, okay, ultra budget white flyers. So this deck, I want to say, is like around 25 bucks. I know I have it at the end of the video, but I just figured I'd mention that now. So if you're looking for a very, very cheap but effective aggro deck for Pioneer, then this is definitely the deck for you. So it's a little bit of a funny deck, but all of a sudden you play the card that's in the thumbnail here, and all of a sudden things are really not that funny anymore. This deck is really fun. So let's just go and hop into it here. Okay, so obviously, we're playing white flyers. So obviously we're going to be playing a bunch of birds. So we're playing 4 Healer's Hawk, 4 Judge's Familiar, and 4 Miner's Guidewing is a few of our 1-drops. We're really just playing, for the most part, the best 1-drop flyers in the format, which, spoiler alert, there's a whole nother slide of more of these flyers. But obviously, Healer's Hawk, you know, fantastic card, flying lifelink. Judge's Familiar, you can sacrifice it, maybe counter a spell, that kind of thing. And then Miner's Guidewing's pretty good. When it dies, creature you control explores, which is a pretty darn good rate. So, definitely a big fan of these flyers. Next slide here, even more of our 1-drops that we're playing. We're playing 4 Ruin Lurker Bat, strictly better than Healer's Hawk, but still playing 8 of that effect is still really, really good. Obviously, if you descended Scry 1, so if one of your guys dies, you get a little, you get a little bit of something out of it. It's pretty good. Then 4 Swooping Lookout, 1/2 for 1 with Flying and Vigilance, just a really, really good rate. And then 4 Loyal Pegasus, a 2/1 flyer for 1 white mana. It's an extremely good rate, but it can't attack or block alone. So, not the best thing to play on exactly turn 1. It's going turn 1 Loyal Pegasus because it's not going to be able to attack that next turn. So it's kind of more of like your turn 2 play. You know, you go turn 1 like Ruin Lurker Bat, then turn 2 Pegasus into a Swooping Lookout, for instance. You know, so that way you can start getting in the damage there. But hey, a 2 power flyer for 1 mana is going to put in some work in this deck, believe me. So those are our 1-drops that we're playing. Let's go and hop into our next side where it's going to kind of make a little bit more sense here. So we're only playing 4 2-drops. We're playing 2 Doorkeeper Thrall, 2 Tomic Distinguished Advocate, and 4 Sephara Sky's Blade, which in my opinion is the best card in the entire deck. So Doorkeeper Thrall, I thought about playing a Hushbringer or something like that, but we're technically playing a couple creatures that, you know, like dying, or no, not dying. Which one? I'm trying to remember. There's an effect of one of these flyers where it didn't work with our creatures because a couple of our creatures die and they get an triggered ability. So I wanted to play one that didn't affect dying creatures. And Doorkeeper Thrall is the brand new one from Murders at Karlov Manor. That's going to be perfect because it's artifacts and creatures entering the battlefield don't cause abilities to trigger, because the other ones were like entering and dying, and again, we have dying triggers. So that's why I decided to play Doorkeeper Thrall in this slot. Tomic is just really good. It's a 2/3 flyer for 2, and then obviously there is the plus have lands on the battlefield, lands and cards in your graveyard, can't be targeted spells, and then your opponents can't play lands from their graveyards. Obviously, like, that can be, you know, it's pretty niche. It's mostly just because it's a 2/3 flyer for 2, which is an extremely good rate. And Sephara Sky's Blade. So normally it's a 7/7 flyer for 7 with flying lifelink and other creatures you control with flying have indestructible. But you can also pay a white and tap 4 untapped creatures you control with flying, rather than pay their spell's mana cost. So, you know, in Magical Christmas Land, we can go like turn 1 1-drop, turn 2 like 1-drop, and then turn 3 play another 1-drop and then slam a Sephara. So I mean, turn 3 Sephara, pretty hard to beat for the most part. It's to the point where if our opponent doesn't have a removal spell for Sephara, the game is pretty much over just because we have such a gigantic flyer. But I'm definitely a big fan of Sephara. I've always thought the card was really, really sweet. And this obviously is the perfect deck for a card like Sephara. So that's all of our creatures, but we still have one more slide to talk about before our lands. We're playing 4 Brave the Elements and 4 Rally of Wings. So Brave the Elements is pretty self-explanatory. The card has been fantastic for a number of years. So he's playing a bunch of different formats. Pioneer is where it is the best for sure. Obviously, you know, if our opponent's playing like Spirits or something, we need to get through those flyers. Name blue. Boom, get through. Oh, our opponent has a removal spell for Sephara? No, they don't, because we have Brave the Elements. Rally of Wings, though, is probably the most underrated card I would say on this entire deck. 2 mana, untap all creatures you control. Creatures you control with flying get +2/+2 until end of turn. You know, technically, if we're really, you know, if we got a really good hand, we could go attack with all of our 1-drops. Then we go rally, untap them, give them +2/+2, smack you for a ton, and then we could play the Safara post combat, which is pretty sweet. But Rally of Wings is, I would say, one of the most underrated cards. Really, I don't want to say in Pioneer per se, but this is just a really, really strong uncommon. I mean, +2/+2 untap your dudes for 2 mana is an extremely good rate. I really, really love Rally of Wings. So let's go and hop into our lands here. It's really simple. We're an ultra budget deck. So we're playing 4 Shepherd Dudes in 16 planes. Really nothing too crazy. Shepherd Dudes obviously is just really good late game because we can, you know, tap that, well, 4 and then tap that, sack a desert, give our creatures 1/1, which, guess what, when we're going really, really wide is fantastic. And then the planes that we were playing today is the really, really cool one from Theros Beyond Death. There wasn't even any particular reason. I just thought, you know, what planes should I play the best that kind of resembles this deck? And I would say it's definitely this plane. It's definitely a big fan of that beautiful, beautiful planes. So let's go and hop into our sideboard as well as some budget options, or sorry, not budget, upgrade options. So sideboarding is really, really simple in this deck because we are ultra budget. We're going to want Artifact and Enchantment. Hey, I'm personally playing Fragmentize, but, you know, if you want to go ahead and play like Disenchant or Cathar Commando or, you know, a Ham Sandwich, whatever, you can go ahead and play that. I would just pack a little bit of it. Then we're definitely going to want some extra removal. I would personally recommend Ossification, or you could also play Conclave Tribunal. I think those are definitely the best options in our deck. And then I would personally play a couple more protection spells. I would play like God's Willing. That's personally what I would recommend. But you could also play a couple different ones, you know, if you're worried about your opponent playing Wraths like to populate. You could also play, there's a number of different protection spells that give indestructible instead of just protection, but yeah, that's mostly up to you for the most part. But I definitely recommend playing a couple extra protection spells. And then the last thing we got to talk about is the upgrade options. It's really, really simple. I would personally play a couple of man or utility lands. That means including cards like a Ganjo. You could also play Mutavault, Cave of the Frost Dragon. That's personally what I would put in the deck. You could also splash blue if you wanted to upgrade this. I know I made a blue-white Fliers deck a little while ago, and it was pretty sweet. I think it was actually a bird deck from what I remember. Yeah, it definitely was a bird deck. But you could splash blue for like Empyrean Eagle, because Empyrean Eagle gives all of your Flyers +1/+1. So you could definitely build a nice blue-white Flyers deck, and you would also get favorable wins, which is pretty sweet. And the last thing I want to mention, like I said earlier, this list is only $25 as it is right now. The entire cost is essentially in Safara, the Doorkeeper Thrall, and Tolmec. Other than that, the deck is extremely cheap. The last thing I wanted to mention, which I didn't put this on here, if you're looking to really upgrade this deck, you know, if you like Flyers and you want to kind of, you know, upgrade the deck, I would personally think about going into Spirits, whether it be like mono blue or blue white. That's what I would personally do, because if you like playing cheap Flyers, then Spirits is definitely the deck for you. That's what I would say is the next step. But if you just want to go ahead and play a bunch of 1-drop Flyers, play a Safara and turn them sideways, then this is definitely the perfect deck for you in Pioneer. So, well, that takes us to the end of the video. Thanks so much for watching. Let me know in the comment section below, what do you think about the deck? Is there something that I forgot to include? And do you have any suggestions for upcoming videos? Just let me know in the comment section. So, I'm Commander Crane. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.